On the equity market, the Nigerian equities market opened trading today on a bearish note as investors remain cautious amid sustained selling pressure across the market. The NGX All-Share Index stands at 239,085.17 points, while market capitalization is valued at approximately 154.40 trillion naira. The index remains below the market's recent August high, reflecting a period of correction after earlier strong gains. Recent market data also shows a broader weakening in equity prices and reduced trading activity. The bearish sentiment suggests that investors are still taking profits and adjusting their portfolios, particularly in major sectors such as banking and other large-cap stocks. This does not necessarily mean the wider Nigerian economy is weakening, but it does reflect caution in the capital market and could affect companies seeking to raise fresh funds through equities if lower valuation persists. As trading progresses today, investors will closely watch for bargain hunting, corporate earnings, macroeconomic development, and changes in interest rate expectations. The key question is whether renewed demand for fundamentally strong stocks will support a market rebound or whether selling pressure will continue to push the NGX lower. Despite the recent pullback, the market remains substantially higher than it was a year ago, showing that the current weakness is occurring after a period of significant gains. And to the top gainers. The Nigerian equities market is seeing strong gains in selected stocks in Wednesday's trading session, with buying interest pushing some counters significantly higher. Sunu Assurance is currently leading the gainers, advancing 10%, followed by UPL, which has gained a plus 9.38%. New Gold ETF is also recording a strong performance, rising plus 9.36%. Other notable gainers include Regency Alliance Insurance, up plus 3.80%, while McNichols has appreciated by plus 3.09%. The movement suggests that investors are selectively taking positions in specific counters, even as the broader market continues to reflect mixed sentiment. The strong performances in these stocks could be linked to renewed demand and investors' interest in individual companies rather than a broad-based market rally. However, these figures are intraday and subject to change before the close of trading. Investors will be watching whether the leading gainers can maintain their momentum through the session, while also monitoring trading volumes, corporate fundamentals, and the direction of the NGX All-Share Index. The final ranking will only be confirmed after the market closes. And now to the top losers. Trading on the Nigerian exchange opened cautiously today, with investors still monitoring the recent selling pressures that has weighed on the equities market. As of the opening stage of today's session, however, a confirmed full session ranking of the top losers is not yet readily released, but the NGX market is still trading and share prices can change significantly as more transactions are recorded throughout the day. For context, the latest completed trading session saw a number of equities come under significant pressure. International Energy Insurance emerged as the biggest decliner, losing a minus 9.82% to close at 3.49 naira per share. It was followed by NIMET International Pharmaceuticals, which declined by minus 9.38% to sell at 7 naira 25 kobo per share. Fidelity Bank also recorded a notable decline, falling 6% to close at 18 naira 80 kobo. Guinea Insurance dropped minus 5.19%. Coronation Insurance declined by approximately 3.85%. The declines came against a generally weak market backdrop. The NGX All-Share Index closed the previous session at 239,085.17 points after losing 265.99 points, or 11%. Market capitalizations also declined by approximately 137 billion naira to 154.397 trillion naira. Market breadth was another indication of the caution mood. 32 stocks closed lower compared with 18 gainers, showing the selling pressure was relatively widespread despite modest movement in the benchmark index. Trading activity, however, remains significant, with approximately 668.72 million shares valued at 23.83 billion naira exchanged in 45,894 deals. This suggests that investors remained active even as they reduced positions in some counters. And for today's session, investors will be watching closely for signs of whether the market could stabilize after the recent weakness. Particular attention will be paid to banking, insurance, and other highly traded stocks, where continued profit-taking further pressure on the index. And on the other hand, stocks that have experienced sharp declines could attract bargain hunters if investors begin to view their lower prices as attractive entry point. The balance between these two forces, continued profit-taking and renewed buying interest, is likely to determine the direction of the market as trading progresses. So for now, the key message from the NGX is one of caution. The final list of today's top losers will only become meaningful after significant trading has taken place and ultimately once the market closes. And now moving to the commodities market, prices of major food staples and essential energy products remain an important indicator of the pressure facing Nigerian households and businesses as the new week progresses. The latest market indications shows that a 50-kilogram bag of local rice is selling between 52,000 naira and 60,000 naira, while foreign or imported rice is trading between 60 to 70,000 naira. The price differences reflect factors including production costs, processing, transportation, and distribution expenses. For other major staples, beans are currently trading between 70 to 80,000 naira per 50-kilogram bag, while maize is selling for approximately 35 to 45,000 naira. A 50-kilogram bag of garri is around 31,000, making it another important price to watch given its widespread consumption across the country. And on the edible oil market, 25 liters of palm oil is currently around 42,000 naira, while 25 liters of vegetable oil is approximately 70,000 naira. Movement in the prices of cooking oils are significantly for both households and food businesses, as they reflect the cost of preparation of meals as well as the operating costs of restaurants, caterers, and food processors. And on the energy front, petrol or PMS is currently selling between 1,200 and 1,400 naira per liter, depending on location and filling station. Diesel is trading between 1,500 and 1,700 naira per liter. Diesel remains particularly important to businesses that rely on generators and diesel-powered equipment, meaning higher prices can increase production and operating costs. And meanwhile, cooking gas is currently around 1,600 naira to 1,800 naira per kilogram. Changes in the cooking gas prices have a direct impact on household cooking expenses and the operating cost of restaurants and other food-related businesses. The continued cost of food and energy remains a major factor influencing Nigeria's cost of living environment. Transportation costs, fuel prices, seasonal supply, exchange rate movements, and distribution expenses all play a role in determining what consumers eventually pay at the market. And for households, higher food and energy prices can reduce disposable income and purchasing power. For businesses, particularly manufacturers, transport operators, and small enterprises, rising input and energy costs can squeeze profit margins and potentially lead to higher prices for goods and services. Market participants will therefore continue to watch supply conditions and energy prices closely, particularly as those factors influence the broader directions of consumer prices. And now to the currency market, the Nigerian naira is maintaining relative stability against the United States dollar as trading continues today. The latest available data for the official Nigerian foreign exchange market reads at 1,346.34 kobo to $1. The latest confirmed official market closing rate is around 1,346.90 kobo per dollar, keeping the naira broadly within the 1,346 to 1,347 range in the official market. And in the parallel market, the dollar is currently quoted at approximately 1,004 to $1. This means there is a difference of about 53 naira 66 kobo per dollar between the official NFEM rate and the parallel market quotation. At the parallel market rate of 1,400 to $100 will be worth approximately 140,000 naira, while 1,000 US dollars will translate to about 1.4 million naira. The relative stability of the naira is significant for businesses and consumers. Exchange rate movements affect the cost of imported goods, raw materials, machineries, and other product price in dollars. A more stable foreign exchange market can therefore give businesses greater certainty when planning costs, setting prices, and making investment decisions. The narrowing gap between the official and parallel market is also worth watching. A smaller spread can indicate improved alignment between the two segments of the foreign exchange, although rates can still move during the day depending on dollar supply, demand, liquidity, and transaction volumes. For Nigerians who need dollars for travels, imports, schools, fees, business transactions, or other payments, the actual rate available from a bank or bureau d'exchange may differ from these published market benchmarks. And that's a wrap on today's business update from the Nigerian market to the latest movements in the economy, commodities, and the global financial landscape. We will continue to bring you the numbers and developments that matters to your business, investments, and everyday decisions. Thank you for watching. Join us again for another edition of Business Update. For more news in housing sector, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa. Follow our social media platforms and download the Housing TV mobile app and free TV app on Google Play Store and Apple App Store to stay connected. Many thanks for watching. I remain Fari Josephine. Bye for now.
The strength of a nation begins with the strength of its communities. Housing TV Africa, informing, educating, inspiring.
Hello and welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studios in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Gloria Karibi Tambri. Our top stories. Osinbajo calls for people-centered justice reforms. Kwara Ekiti communities trade blame over land attack. In business, Dangote Refinery increases petrol price to 1,200 naira per litre. In the build sector, FGE launches diaspora mortgage loan for Nigerians abroad. In sports, Osimhen drops to 5th in Africa's most valuable players ranking. On foreign team, Iran, Oman move closer to Hormuz shipping deal. Now the news in detail. Former Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo has called for reforms that place citizens at the center of Nigeria's justice system. Speaking at the 66th Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Osinbajo said the judiciary must become more responsive to the needs and experiences of Nigerians. Represented by former Lagos State Attorney General Ade Ikpaye, Osinbajo said justice reforms should be guided by data, clear priorities, and local ownership. He also urged the Nigerian Bar Association to expand access to justice through legal aid, mediation, legal technology, and pro bono services, stressing that the justice system should be designed around the people it is meant to serve. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has identified officers featured in a viral video allegedly showing police personnel extorting 40,000 naira from a resident along the Wuye Utako Road in Abuja. The command has invited the complainant to its headquarters to make an official statement to assist the investigation. The FCT Police Public Relations Officer SP Josephine Ade says the Commissioner of Police CP Ahmed Mohammed Sanusi has ordered an investigation while the officers depicted in the video are currently in custody. The command says any officer found culpable will face appropriate disciplinary and legal action and has reiterated that it will not tolerate extortion, abuse of authority, or unprofessional conduct by its personnel. The Obo Ayegunle community in Kwara State and Edda Oniyo in Ekiti State are trading accusations over an attack linked to a long-standing dispute over land ownership. Obo Ayegunle alleged that Edda Oniyo residents invaded its farmlands on August 19 and threatened farmers, while Edda Oniyo accused Obo Ayegunle residents of attacking its farmers with cutlasses and guns. The Obo Descendant Forum has appealed to the Ekiti State government to intervene and stop further aggression, while the Edda Oniyo progressives called on the government to remove Obo Ayegunle residents from what it described as Edda Oniyo land. Both communities have urged the authorities to intervene as the dispute over the ownership of land continues. The host community of the Kolmani oil field in Bauchi State has urged the federal government to move beyond promises and take concrete steps to resume exploration activities at the site. The Pali Development Association has cautioned against using the project as a campaign tool ahead of the 2027 general elections. The association's chairman, Hashim Pali, said residents of Bauchi and Northeast have welcomed renewed government interest but want immediate remobilization, sustained funding, and clear timelines. His comments followed a verification visit by the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, whose chairman, Mohammed Bello, pledged to advocate for the continuation of the project, which is expected to contribute to jobs, infrastructure, energy, and revenue. We'll take a pause here. Up next are news stories from the business and build sector.
The strength of a nation begins with the strength of its communities. Housing TV Africa, informing, educating, inspiring.
You are watching Housing TV News at the top of the hour. In business, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has increased the price of premium motor spirit petrol from 1,185 naira to 1,200 naira per litre. The 15 naira increase comes barely 5 days after the refinery raised its price from 1,165 naira per litre. The latest increase comes despite a decline in international crude oil prices, with Brent crude trading at $88.37 per barrel and West Texas Intermediate at $82.13. The adjustment could push petrol prices higher at filling stations as marketers factor in transportation and other downstream costs, with pump prices expected to average around 1,250 naira per litre. The federal government has raised 7.62 trillion naira from the domestic bond market between January and August 2026 as it continues to borrow to finance its budget and other fiscal obligations. The funds were raised through 8 federal government bond auctions conducted by the Debt Management Office amid a projected budget deficit of about 31.5 trillion naira. At the August auction, the DMO allotted 805.2 billion naira through competitive bids for bonds maturing in 2035, 2037, and 2038. Total allotments rose to about 1.56 trillion naira after 752.3 billion naira was sold through non-competitive allotments, while investor subscriptions reached 1.7 trillion naira, indicating continued demand for government securities. Nigerian lawyers have stressed the importance of tax compliance in generating revenue for infrastructure development and the provision of social services. The call was made during a panel discussion titled Pay Now, Prosper Later at the 66th Annual General Conference of the Nigerian Bar Association in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. The Tax Ombud and Chief Executive of the Office of the Tax Ombud, Dr. John Nwabweze, said greater trust between taxpayers and tax authorities would encourage voluntary compliance. He disclosed that the office, which opened to the public in January, has received 22 complaints, with 14 already resolved, as it works to provide an independent platform for resolving tax-related grievances. In the built sector, the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, has launched its Diaspora Mortgage Loan in London, creating a new financing channel for eligible Nigerians living abroad to buy or build homes in Nigeria. The scheme offers financing of up to 100 million naira at an interest rate of 9% per annum, with a repayment period of up to 10 years. The initiative, launched in collaboration with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission and with technical and regulatory support from the Central Bank of Nigeria, is designed to make home ownership easier for Nigerians abroad while attracting more diaspora funds into the housing sector. FMBN says the scheme will also support activity across the construction and housing value chain while strengthening access to formal housing finance. We take another pause, and coming up are stories from the sport and foreign scene.
Did you know housing contributes significantly to economic growth, job creation, and national development? Stay informed. Stay connected. Stay with Housing TV Africa.
You're still watching Housing TV News. In sports, Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has dropped to 5th on the list of Africa's most valuable footballers, despite a strong start to the 2026-2027 season. The Galatasaray forward is currently valued at €75 million, according to transfer market data, putting him behind Ivory Coast's Yan Diomande, Ashraf Hakimi, Antoine Semenyo, and Ayoub Boadi. Osimhen, who was ranked first in 2023 and third ahead of this year's Africa Cup of Nations, has scored 4 goals and provided 1 assist in 2 matches for Galatasaray this season. The 27-year-old remains Africa's most valuable Nigerian footballer and the most valuable player in the Turkish Super League, while also ranking 8th among the world's most valuable centre forwards. On the foreign scene, Iran and Oman are moving closer to an agreement aimed at easing shipping restrictions through the strategic Strait of Hormuz. The two countries have discussed a framework for a temporary maritime transit corridor, as well as plans to clear mines from the waterway. The proposed arrangement is expected to provide a temporary system for safe navigation, while technical discussions continue towards a longer-term solution. However, Iran has maintained that wider conditions, including the lifting of the U.S. naval blockade, will affect the full restoration of normal shipping through the strait. And that's the news story on Housing TV Africa. Before we go, let's give you a recap of our top stories. Simbajo calls for people-centered justice reforms. Kwara Ekiti communities trade blame over land attack. In business, Dangote Refinery increases petrol price to 1,200 naira per litre. In the build sector, FGE launches Diaspora Mortgage Loan for Nigerians abroad. In sports, Osimhen drops to 5th in Africa's most valuable players ranking. On foreign scene, Iran, Oman moved closer to Hormuz shipping deal. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa, follow our social media platforms, and download the Housing TV mobile app and free TV app on Google Play Store and Apple App Store to stay connected. Many thanks for watching. I am Gloria Karibi Tambri. Bye for now.
This is Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
The strength of a nation begins